Hey friends, it's Lex at LexReads. Welcome back to my channel. Today we are wrapping up my September reads. Let's do it. So I successfully completed all 4 of my prompts this month. So we get to chuck these in the bin. I'll tell you when we get to each of them. I'll tell you what prompt it was when we get to the book. Does that make sense? Okay, whatever. We're just gonna get into it. I was absolutely blessed to be sent Teen Titans Beast Boy by DC Comics, and I read it the first day of September, and I was so excited. It was amazing. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars, but closer to 4.5 stars. If you didn't know this about me, I don't know how much I've mentioned this. I have a deep, deep love of comic books and superheroes. I am definitely more of a Marvel gal than a DC gal, if we're talking specifically the large camps. It's always the question, Marvel or DC. I tend to lean Marvel, but I grew up watching Teen Titans, the original Teen Titans, on Cartoon Network when I was a wee lass. And it was my favorite TV show. I absolutely loved it, and so I requested this arc because who doesn't love Beast Boy? And it's amazing. It's so much fun. It's an origin story. It's modern. It deals a lot with the implications of social media and trying to remain relevant online, but also the metaphor for his superpowers being him coming of age, and he gets to fight some things, and it's really just great. I fell in love with all of the characters, and I highly recommend you read it. And also, now I need to get Teen Titans Raven, which is the first one that they did a year or 2 ago, and Raven is my favorite of the Teen Titans. So yep, it was great. It was phenomenal. Moving on. Next up, I read Fence Volume 3 graphic novel. As I always say when we get to these, I think these are just so gorgeous, so stunning. I'm so invested in these characters. In the graphic novels, Nicholas, this one right here, is my favorite character. Sports graphic novel with a lot of casual diversity, queer characters, we got characters of color, we've got a lot of dealing with classism and wage gap with some really good art. So I adore these. This one, 4 out of 5 stars. It was great. I never know I have a hard time reviewing graphic novels. I don't ever really know what to say. Did someone have to read a 5-star prediction? Because I did, and this was amazing. 5 out of 5 stars. I have an entire 47-minute video or whatever vlogging and talking about this book. I have a lot of feelings about this book, so I will link that down below for you to go check out if you're interested. Everyone enjoyed me saying, Ronan, you are whack. So, Ronan's whack in this one. We follow Ronan. This is the 2nd book in the Raven cycle, the sequel to The Raven Boys. This is The Dream Thieves by Maggie Stiefvater, and I loved it. Ronan is my favorite character of the gang. I love Kavinsky. That's all I'm going to say about that. This one is beautifully woven. The prose is stunning. Some of this writing is my favorite writing of all time. Some of it is just absolutely phenomenal. Oh, can I just read you this line because I like it? Okay, I'm going to read it, okay? The engine roared anew. The car was Ganzi's religion, and Ronan found it a worthy god. Ah, so good. I also there was nothing inside Ronan. Glorious nothing. And behind that, more nothing. But something was wrong. Ah! This is Ronan's book. I love him. I would die for that man. 5 out of 5 stars. Did I say that? This was a 5-star prediction. I was correct. Both of these, because I also read the 4th volume, also 5-star predictions. That one was 4 stars. Still a 5-star prediction. I read lots of 5-star predictions this month, and they were all lovely. So, moving on. This next one I was stupid excited about and absolutely adored. This is Burn Our Bodies Down by Rory Power. I give this 4 out of 5 stars. We got some own voices, queer representation in here, if I do believe so. So, one of my prompts, let me find it, read an own voices author. Check. Although this doesn't have romance, we do still have a queer main character. I adored Margot. This book was great. Did I already say 4 out of 5 stars? So this is Rory Power's sophomore novel, her second novel. Rory Power wrote Wilder Girls, which you may or may not remember from earlier this year, is one of my favorite books of the year, and I stand by that. And this one was not quite as good for me due to some very, very specific, personal thoughts and feelings toward them both, but it is so interesting. It's got this really fun speculative element, which I guess her other one also does. But so we follow Margot, her and her mother live together in this broken down apartment in Nebraska, and she's always wanted to learn more about her family, but her mother refuses to talk about it. So she knows nothing about where she comes from or where her mother comes from. And then one day she finds a photograph in a Bible with her grandmother's phone number. And so she basically runs away to this other town in Nebraska, and shit gets weird. I don't know if this is considered horror or not, but it has still that same kind of like Wilder Girls, that same kind of vibe. There's a little bit of body horror, like I said, a lot of it is speculative elements. She's trying to untangle her family history, so maybe domestic thriller, I don't know. Either way, I absolutely adored it, and the cover is gorgeous. But this was really good, and I highly recommend it. I also think it would be a great, October, November read. I think it's a great fall read. It doesn't take place in fall, but it has that kind of spooky, questioning vibe that I know a lot of people really look for this time of year. I was too lazy to go get the dust jacket. This is Red, White, and Royal Blue. I had to reread something, and I'm not going to lie to you, I think this might be my comfort read now. I was a little bit bummed at the prospect of 2020, so I decided to live in a happier 2020 for a night, and it worked. This book, I know I talked about it last month, so it feels kind of weird talking about it again, because I read it for the first time in August and reread it in the middle of September. So what I will say is that Alex and Henry's romance is so beautiful and so well written, and like I said, I think this is maybe my new comfort read. All my comfort reads are sad, so this is the happiest one. I adore it. I adore the characters. I adore the writing style. It has some of my favorite passages of any book I've ever read. I always say you know a book is good when you reread it, and even though you know everything that happens, it still packs the same punch. It's still just as emotionally poignant as it was the first time. When you have the same reading experience or a better reading experience on the reread, I feel like it's a good book. It's a really good book. I cannot wait for Casey McQuiston's new book, which I think comes out, it might already be out, but I think it comes out in the first half of 2021, if I'm not mistaken, and that one is Sapphic. Cannot wait. Was someone supposed to read a high fantasy? I believe I was. High fantasy, we read Girl Serpent Thorn. 4 out of 5 stars. I loved this book. This book was such a fun read. It's based in Persian myth and legend, which was really fun. I haven't read any, like, actual Persian legend and myth. And honestly, I might go check some out because the magic system and the creatures and so good. I love also, apparently this is like a rough translation thing that they actually do. We're going to chat about it for a second. I'm just going to read you the first 3 sentences of the prologue. So it says, "Stories always begin the same way. There was and there was not. There is a possibility in those words, the chance for hope or despair." Apparently, a lot of legends from that part of the world do start with something that roughly translates to there was and there was not, which is super cool. I love that as a start for like a children's story. This book is marketed wrong. This book is sapphic, and it's not marketed sapphic. When you read the dust jacket sleeve thing, it doesn't sound like it's going to be sapphic. It is. I promise it is. I know when I read it, I mentioned in my haul when I talked about it, I'll link that down below, I was like, I'm confused because everyone told me it's sapphic, but the thing talks about a boy. So we follow a princess who was cursed with basically poison touch. So if her skin touches another person's skin, they will die. She will poison them. So she has spent her entire life basically locked up in the castle while her twin brother is out there charming people and living his best life. When the book opens, she finds out that he is going to get married to her childhood best friend, and she makes the choice to leave the castle basically for the first time. She meets this young soldier, and they go on an adventure. Soraya makes some bold choices. She's the main character throughout this book, and it was devastating at times, but in the end, one of the most satisfying reads that I've had in a very long time. I adored her as a main character, Soraya. Gut punches, so many gut punches. I will definitely be rereading this at some point, probably soon, because I fell in love. And now I have to go and read all of Melissa's books that she's ever written. This is not her first book, so I've got to go pick that up so I can read it. If you do read this book, which I highly, highly recommend that you do, if you do read it, make sure at the end you read the author's note, because she kind of goes through and explains all of the elements of this story and where she pulled her inspiration from in actual legend, and then there's a reading list of further readings for myth and legend that I would like to go through, because like I said, I think it was beautiful. It was so beautiful. We love to see it. So that's all 4 of my monthly prompts checkmarked. Then I read Fence Volume 4 Rivals, 5 out of 5 stars. This is my favorite of the graphic novels yet. As always, trying to find you a good couple pages to show you how beautiful it is. 5 out of 5 stars. So good, so much fun. And then the last thing I read this month was Fence Striking Distance, which is a novel based on the graphic novels, not written by the same author, because C.S. Picot writes the graphic novels. This was written by Sarah Reese Brennan. I have a release day, because it came out on the 29th, a release day vlog and review coming out. My next video after this one comes out is released. This book I gave a 3 out of 5 stars. It was Okay, this book is hard for me to talk about because it's so brand new that I don't want to spoil or ruin anything for anyone. What I can tell you is that this book emotionally destroyed me, and it didn't have the fucking right. So, first of all, let's just start off by saying hi. This book is YA, but it reads really young. It reads a lot like fanfiction. It has a lot of fanfiction tropes. The prose reads a lot like fanfiction. I vibed with that because, as we all know, I love fanfiction. The dialogue is not super strong. If I never have to read the word bro ever again, I will be happy. And it will be too soon. The dialogue is kind of wooden, kind of clunky, not great, so that on its own knocked me down to 4 stars. Then, in the middle, I got super invested in the romantic plot of this book, and then it was not a happy ending. I was reading this hoping for it to be happy, and then it wasn't, and then I was disappointed. So we got to knock it down another star, and that is why it's 3 stars. Not that I don't recommend this book. If you like the graphic novels, I think you'll probably enjoy this book. I enjoyed this book, and I think it's going to stick with me for a long time because I'm a little bit traumatized by it. So my 3 stars is not me saying that I think it's, like, bad by any means. I just have some large issues with some things in the book. The cover is illustrated by Joanna the Mad, who does the illustrations for the graphic novels. It's funny, in the graphic novels, as I already mentioned, Nicholas is my favorite character. In the book, Aiden was my favorite character, and Nicholas was my least favorite character, and I think that just had to do with how Sarah wrote the 4 of them. We follow these 4. We follow 4 main characters in this book, so it's kind of a lot to keep track of, but I'm already very familiar with them because of the graphic novels, so it wasn't hard at all for me. Like, I already knew their personalities and whatnot, so that was fine. It's in 3rd person, but every chapter, like, follows a different, I'll just open one, like, follows a different character. So this is an Aiden chapter. We follow Aiden. So we follow all 4 of their plots, and Aiden's was my favorite, and I'm heartbroken and devastated, and I'm fairly certain this is a book series, and I have to read the next one when it comes out, if it comes out, because I'm traumatized by this book, and I need it to be happier. So, cheers to that. Yes, so that's 8 books, I believe, for September, which is great. I'm so happy with that number, especially compared to July and August. I have a lot of reading time at my job. I just started a new job a few weeks ago. I have a lot of reading time, so I do anticipate being able to read a little bit more going forward. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me. Be on the lookout for my spoiler-free reading vlog and review of this book, and then my October TBR will be out in a couple days for you to enjoy. Thank you guys so much for hanging out. I know I already said it, but I'm going to say it again, and I will see you guys very soon. Goodbye!